Thanks for tuning in to the Urban Scope podcast. I'm back with more hip hop news and controversy. A random topic I was thinking about, a topic that most people have discussed in hip hop worlds or hip hop realms. Now, when you think about the top artists or the top rappers in hip hop history, there's a lot of arguments about who is the best rapper. Now, some people say Nas, some people say Jay Z, some people say Biggie, some people say Tupac, some say Eminem. But specifically, when I think about hip hop, the two that people have the biggest arguments about, other than Nas and Jay Z, is Jay Z and Eminem. And I'm going to tell you why I think Jay Z is a better rapper than Eminem. And there are plenty of reasons, and I'll get to those here in a little bit. But, this fan, some people make this argument one sided and about race subliminally, but it's a story for another day. I'm just going off the art, off how the music makes me feel and what it means to the game. Now, both artists are very important for hip hop and have made tremendous contributions to hip hop, not just musically, but behind the scenes as well, giving us other artists, um, giving hits to other artists, speaking up for other artists, speaking up for social issues. Both of these artists have done that. Eminem has done probably more on the social realm than Jay-Z in some aspects because he spoke out against, bad leadership, and he's spoken out against the discrimination in hip hop. Now, Jay-Z's more instrumental and doesn't talk about it enough, but he donates to certain causes and makes moves behind the scenes of certain things. But for the most part, musically, I believe Jay-Z is a better artist, and I'll tell you why. Now, both artists are different and have different styles. And a side note, Eminem did out rap Jay-Z on the Renegade song that's off the original Blueprint album. Now, if you have a chance, check that out. It's definitely two great verses from two mega hip hop stars, but Eminem's verse is just classic, and then he had a comic relief to it, which I'll talking about in a little bit. Um, but hearing Eminem on that Renegade song, I wanted more of that same artistry from him throughout his career. And we didn't always get that. We had more of a comical style from him. We had a more, lackadaisical look. Maybe he got bored with the sport. It just felt like he can experiment with different things and different sounds. But he came off, very animated to me. And I wanted to see that more serious side of Eminem, because when we get that serious side of Eminem, especially for a whole project, which I felt like we never really got, it's a different ball game. If he would have kept that style, I think he would have been better than Jay-Z as a rapper. But for that reason alone, I think Jay-Z is a better artist, and I'll give a couple more reasons too. Um, and then Jay-Z, I feel, is more of a conscious rapper and more insightful artist, and he's a little bit more serious with his art and a little bit more purposeful. A lot of Eminem's greatest songs and a lot of his songs are geared towards beef, whether it be his own family members or different artists like Will Smith and Christina Aguilera and these different artists, Mariah Carey, people like that. He took them, took personal beefs and made it about them instead of the art sometimes. And I felt like that's where Eminem had a little slippage, where he should have made more Lose Yourselves and made more of songs that were on that Slim Shady Show project. Not Slim Shady Show project, the Eminem Show. The Eminem Show, I believe, was his best project. And that's another reason why I think Jay-Z is a better artist, because Jay-Z has more classic albums. Eminem has probably more classic songs, but Jay-Z has better projects, because the Eminem Show, I felt like that's when he took the game more serious. That's where he was at his peak. This was around 02, 03. I believe it was 2002, but he had way more serious projects, and there was not a lot of animation and a lot of gimmicks going on. So if he released more projects like the Eminem Show, it probably won't even be close. He'd be the better artist because he's more dedicated and he does the music way more than Jay-Z does, and he's more consistent about it. But that Eminem Show project was definitely different, and I covered that on a one of my segments previously about you know just covering that album. But that was one of my favorite projects from him. Well, my favorite project, not one of them. But when you think about bodies of work, Jay Z has Reasonable Doubt. He has Blueprint One and Blueprint Three. He has American Gangster. He has several great projects. Eminem, I can't say that. Maybe the Slim Shady LP. I like the Recovery album, but I wouldn't consider it a classic. The Eminem Show is definitely a classic. So I only really count about two classic albums from Eminem, while I think Jay Z has about at least four that I can just name off the top. Most people might say Blueprint 2, but it had a lot of songs, and I think a lot of songs were I felt wasn't, up to par. Now that Blueprint 1 album, especially Reasonable Doubt, that the solo debut album, I like the Blueprint 3 as well, and American Gangster might be his best project, which a lot of people sleep on, which was sort of the soundtrack for the American Gangster movie. Now, I believe American Gangster is his best project, and I'll probably put Blueprint slightly behind it. I'm not a huge fan of Reasonable Doubt, as most people are. It's a major project, but I think that American Gangster album is the best Jay Z album, and that's why I think it is. Um, but a lot of reasons why I think Jay Z is a better rapper than Eminem too is because of the production. Now, Eminem did have Dr. Dre for a lot of songs, but Eminem produced a lot of his own records, and I believe that or I don't feel that Eminem's production is good as, of course, Dr. Dre's, but I don't think, he should have been producing most of his own songs. I think that should have been left to other devices and collaboration with other people. And I talked about this with Lil Wayne as well. But when you think about Jay Z, he's had a lot of great producers and he started Kanye's career. But he's had Pharrell and he's had Timbaland, he's had Just Blaze, and he's had all of these different producers that he's worked with. Even going back to the Reasonable Doubt days, that he's had these different great producers and he collabed well. But Eminem hasn't always had that, and that could be, you could say, well, Eminem doing this on his own so they can give him more credit, but no, hip hop and music in general is about collaboration. Other genres, they collaborate well with other people and they put the best of the best together and they put out the best product, and that's how you do it. And also underrated is Guru's contribution as an engineer to Jay Z's career because he's been with him for decades now. But Guru's effect on Jay Z's sound, giving him sound advice and great introspective. And I believe they have that relationship to where he can tell Jay Z what he needs to hear and not what he wants to hear. And Jay Z respect him for it because they've been working together so long and they have that great relationship. And you need that as an artist to have somebody in your ear. And I think Eminem did have with Dr. Dre, but I think a lot of it he wanted to do it on his own. And he's a producer as well. So I think he felt like he can do it, create his sound better. But I think Eminem being able to work with other producers like a Neptunes or Timbaland, he could have got even better results, even though has an amazing career and had an amazing career as well. But I think Jay Z just has an advantage over him by having these different producers, having Guru as an engineer as well, and having stability in his camp. Other than Dame Dash, he's had pretty much a stable force around him. And being married to Beyonce and having Beyonce on your side helps as well. Just helping with the sound and helping with that creativity. And he's very selective with the product that he puts out there. You can't never say Jay Z had a terrible project. You can say that about Eminem and a couple of his projects. Um, I think, like I said, Eminem probably came bored with sometimes with music, and I know he was going through his own personal struggles, so that didn't help as well. But overall, I think Jay Z is the better artist, but they're both great artists, and I still listen to both their music. And I just think Eminem doesn't put out better projects than Jay Z, and Jay Z had better production throughout his career, which helped tremendously with his sound as well. So, tell me what your thoughts about Jay Z and Eminem, and who's the better rapper. And until next time, I'll see you next time.